Hey guys, back here with my video. This one is a follow-up on the worker empire video. So this one will be about how to optimize your worker empire to make it run more efficiently and bring in more resources. So the most important thing about optimizing your worker empire is what type of workers you have and what race of workers you're using. So the three races of workers are goblins, humans, and giants. Goblins have the lowest amount of stamina at 8, but they are by far the fastest workers. They work and move faster than humans and giants. Giants are the opposite of goblins. They are the slowest workers, but they have a huge amount of stamina, something like 38 stamina. The amount of stamina giants have is ridiculous. They can go forever. Humans are in the middle. They have around 17 or 18 stamina, and they work faster than giants, slower than goblins, but they're very good for all-purpose or all-rounders. So the type of worker that is best for your empire depends on what type of player you are. If you are someone that can only check in once or twice a day, maybe say before you go to bed and in the morning, then you probably want to use giants and maybe a few humans for some of the longer nodes that take longer for them to complete the task. Giants will allow you to get more resources as they won't have run out of stamina within the first 3 or 4 hours like goblins will have by the time you come home. One of the problems with goblins is they can only go for about 2, at most 3 hours on most nodes because they finish the task in about 20 minutes and then do it again. And doing that 8 times only is not even 3 hours, it's about 2 hours and 40 minutes. So once you have a good worker empire set up with professional and artisan goblins, if you're not on every 2 or 3 hours to send them back to work, you're really going to notice that they're doing less than humans or giants would in the same situation. Giants are the best for the once a day playstyle just because you can set them and forget them. As long as they're there, they're going to be working. You just have to feed them once a day. You can even feed them once every 2 days if you're really lazy, just because giants can go forever almost. Now, giants are best paired with fishing if you want to pick a AFK activity to do while you're doing, as fishing is the longest lasting AFK activity that provides good money. It's better money than processing over an 8-hour period. Humans are kind of in the middle. If you can log in 2, 3, even 4 times a day, humans are probably the best for you just because they will go for more than twice as long as goblins. They have 17 stamina opposed to 8. They take a bit longer, but not much longer. And humans have some pretty good skills as well. They're not so much faster than giants that giants suck, but they are fast enough that using humans over goblins is something I recommend to most non-hardcore players that check in once every 4 or 5 hours. I like to sleep for a long time, so I personally prefer humans over goblins just because goblins will stop working so quickly and humans can go for about 6 or 7 hours. Now, to get the workers you want, it's important to re-roll for workers. And what this means is when you're talking to the work supervisor, contracting workers, it costs 5 energy to do so. You can skip a worker. For 5 energy, you can just keep going. And you do this until you find someone you want to hire. So personally, because my worker empire is mostly professionals and artisans, I refuse to hire skilled or green workers unless it's a completely new town and I don't have much energy left, in which case I'll probably hire a skilled human. And I also try not to hire goblins unless they're artisan or professional, and professional goblins you can sell for a pretty decent price, so it's good to hire professional and artisans of every race just because you can throw them on the worker exchange. So if I go here, you saw I bought that giant for about 30,000, I can sell it for an extra 1,000, and that'll go up really quickly if I just level them up just a bit, because the amount of money that they're worth, the amount of silver they're worth, goes up with their level as well as the skills they know. So for re-rolling, start off by rolling for blue workers. If you can only get green workers at first, that's fine, but try to use all your energy at first to roll for an empire full of blue workers. And then you can use, so my value pack just ended today, which is why none of them are working. But eventually, you'll only have a few skilled workers left. So I've got a few skilled workers that I still have to promote. Start a promotion test now. And you get a promotion test every 10 levels. So at level 10, 20, and 30, they get a promotion chance. And if they succeed in their promotion, they'll go to the next tier and be reset back to level 1, as well as losing all their skills. However, if they don't succeed, nothing bad happens, they just lose the promotion chance. If they fail 3 times, you better just sell them and get a new one if they're skilled, because it's not worth keeping a level 30 skilled worker over a level 30 professional artisan worker. So start by rerolling for skilled, obviously hire any professional and artisans you can while you're doing so. And as you're doing so, try and do at least one promotion test a day. Promotion tests take 24 hours to complete unless you use pearls to complete them faster, but you don't really need to do that. Just wait your 24 hours and try to promote all your blues up to professional. Then once you have a huge roster of professionals, start trying to promote professionals to artisans. So this will be the step that most people get stuck on for a while, as artisans can take a while to accumulate. But doing so is very worth it, as artisan workers are definitely the best. They are obviously the fastest, they move the fastest, and they get the best skills. Now, apart from your workers, you also want to prioritize the best worker for the best node. So if you go here and you go to the node, you can see a list of numbers right over here. So for example, the artisan goblin worker from Glish has a workload of 150. He has a work speed of 135 and a move speed of 7. And here you can see all these numbers: distance, move speed. So there's a lot of math behind it, but basically you'd like for your character's work speed to exceed at least a multiple of this. So you can see that there's not much of a change between my artisan and my professional workers here, even though the professional worker has over 20 less work speed than the artisan does, because it doesn't matter compared to the divider. If it was down at this professional giant worker here, where it's a lot less, at 60, because that's you need 2.5 times to do that, whereas here you only need 1.5 time for both of these, the professional giant worker would not be good to send here. However, you could send someone from Heidel, and if you really wanted, you could even send someone all the way from Velia, but that would not be a good idea. As you can see, the time takes a while. So it's important to look at these. You don't have to necessarily do all the math. You don't have to take a spreadsheet and perfectly calculate the ideal worker for each node, like some people have done. But if you can see that, for example, say a goblin and a giant, so let's go to a better example. We'll go up to Cast Farms Grapes. So here I've got a goblin. So you can see my skilled goblin and my professional human both take the same amount of time. And then the professional giant also takes the same amount of time as the human. So clearly it's best for me, if I don't want to put a goblin on this, I can put a giant on this, because that'll be better than the human. The human will gather the same speed, but the giant will have much more stamina, and I won't have to care for him as much. And if I go for a long session, for example, 12 or 13 hours without checking in, the giant will probably still be working, the human will not. So it's important to at least try and check once you've got your worker empire set up to see if you can optimize anything. If you can put a giant on a node that you've got a goblin or a human on and do it at the same speed or just a tiny bit slower, and put that human or goblin on a different node where they can go much faster, that is huge and will get you much more resources in your storage over the same amount of time as if you just keep it there. So checking that you're always using workers from the closest town. For example, over here you want to use workers from Velia and Olvia. Over here you want to use workers from Heidel. Down here from Glish. Around here near Kepler. You get the idea. Using workers from the closest town reduces the move speed, or the distance, which means that your workers will get there faster and do their job faster. And it's just a good idea in general, because you want your workers bringing as many items to your storage as possible. That will optimize the profits you're making from these workers, from this worker empire that you've spent this time setting up. The final thing about optimizing your worker empire is prioritizing the strategy for your worker empire. So what this means is, what does your worker empire want to do? My worker empire is entirely devoted to giving me processable materials that I can process and sell to other players in the market. For this reason, I have tons of ore and timber nodes. So if you go over here, you can see double ore nodes. There's more double ore nodes up here. I have all of these things for ore and timber. I have corn and potatoes to supplement my workers, same with wheat, so that I can keep them working. And then the workers just bring in tons of processable materials into my storage, and I use them to process. However, if you have a worker empire that's focused on something else, for example, you want to focus on maybe opening Grunnel or other armor workshops in different cities, or maybe you want to focus on making trade crates, then you want to tailor your worker empire to doing that. And also don't forget that your worker empire is also your trade route. So if you are huge into fishing, and for example you like to fish in the Mergoria Sea or the Ross Sea, and then deliver the fish to somewhere way over here, such as Altanova, or even all the way over in Valencia, then you'll want to set up a worker empire that takes that trade route into account. You don't have to have it always connected, but it's good to have it so that you only need to do 1 or 2 connections to connect that trade route so that you can finish that trade as fast as possible when you're doing it, especially if you're a very active fisher or if you're a very active trader. So keeping that in mind while you're building your worker empire is crucial. Of course, it's not like building a worker empire is a one-time thing, and if you mess up, you're screwed. Your worker empire, you can easily reset it all. You can uninvest in all your nodes, you can uninvest in all your towns, and just completely reset the entire empire if you want. It's not a huge problem. Just make sure you keep your lodgings and keep your workers, and you can set up your empire any way you want. There's lots of people that will have their empire set up for processable materials and then set them up for trade crates for a few days, use all those processed materials they made to turn into crates, and then turn it back into a processing empire after they've delivered the crates. So it's a flexible thing. You can build it how you want it. If you want to look up trading, Biohack has amazing guides on trading. I'm not even going to try and explain it because his guide's already so much better. But yeah, your worker empire, optimizing it will get you tons of free profit every day just for being logged in. Your workers are basically your little alcoholic slaves. As long as you keep fed and liquored up, they're going to do whatever you want and bring in all the materials. Anyways, that's a quick guide on how to optimize your worker empire. Hope you liked it. If you liked it, subscribe, and thanks for watching.